Unique Storytellers presents A Dangerous Method, a True Story. The place is Zurich, in Switzerland. And the time was August 17th, the year of 1904. Today, in a hospital, a girl named Sabina is forcibly brought. Actually, she suffers from hysteria, a condition where she cannot control her emotions, experiencing anxiety, anger, panic, and crying all at once. That's why she has been brought to this hospital. Sabina is a Russian girl, who will be treated here by Dr. Carl Jung. He wants to use the talking method on her. With the talking method, he aims to bring out things from her past that reside in her unconscious mind, which is the cause of her illness. This method is also called emotional relief method, because when the patient recalls their past events, they often experience significant emotional relief, which helps them overcome hysteria, a mental disorder. Actually, this entire theory belongs to Dr. Sigmund Freud, but it was just one theory. That's why no doctor in the world uses this method on their patients. Instead, all doctors use shock therapy on their patients. But now, Dr. Carl begins to use this method on Sabina. During her sessions, he sits behind her so that when she delves into the depths of her past, she isn't distracted by his presence. He wants to understand why she developed hysteria, which is a mental illness. He asks her many questions, and after several inquiries, Dr. Carl realizes that the cause of Sabina's hysteria is her father. When Sabina was just 4 years old, she accidentally broke a plate. In response, her father, after stripping off her clothes and brutally beat her, which was deeply humiliating for her. She was very angry and cried a lot about this matter, but strangely, her unconscious mind seemed to be excited about this punishment. She found pleasure in it, which is why she started seeking physical intimacy from a very young age. She would get excited when hurting or humiliating others. As she grew older, her father continued to punish her in the same manner, which deeply affected her mind, and she became a patient of hysteria. In fact, her father was a very wealthy businessman who not only subjected Sabina but also her mother and brother to similar punishments. Now, with Dr. Carl's treatment, her mind slowly begins to respond. She improves significantly and becomes highly educated. Consequently, Dr. Carl begins involving her in his work, where Sabina starts analyzing data of other patients and provides input to the doctor. Since Dr. Carl has successfully cured Sabina using the talking method, he starts using the same method on other patients. Actually, Sabina was the first patient on whom he used the talking method. And now 2 years have passed, and Sabina being almost completely recovered. Dr. Carl suggests she study medicine in college. Meanwhile, Dr. Carl has completely cured his patient using his method. Hence, after 2 years, for the first time he is invited by Sigmund Freud, who had written the theory about this method. Dr. Carl, along with his wife, whom he dearly loves and who is the daughter of a wealthy businessman, visits Freud's house. They talk for 13 hours straight, and after this lengthy discussion, Dr. Carl realizes that Dr. Sigmund Freud's thoughts are completely different. He is not at all ready to accept others' ideas, but instead he tries to influence others with his own thoughts. Sabina frequently meets Dr. Carl and aspires to become a psychiatrist herself. But during their meetings, she remains unaware that she is unconsciously attracted to Dr. Carl. She imagines many fantasies with him. In reality, she has never had any relationship with anyone. She knows that she was subjected to child abuse in her childhood, and now she desires to fulfill her fantasies with Dr. Carl. One day, while they are sitting on a bench and talking, Sabina kisses Dr. Carl, but he does not respond, because he does not want to betray his wife. On the other hand, Dr. Sigmund Freud, the inventor of this method and the one who wrote about it, he sends another patient to Dr. Carl. This patient is a psychiatrist, and is named Dr. Gross, who is also interested in physical intimacy. When Dr. Gross talks to Dr. Carl, he explains that whenever he treats a patient, he fulfills all their demands, even if they are not related to their physical needs. This makes the patient feel more comfortable with him, and his treatment becomes easier. Dr. Carl tells Dr. Gross about Sabina and her desires. Dr. Gross suggests that you should fulfill her desires. And after accepting Dr. Gross's advice, Dr. Carl starts an affair with Sabina. Afterwards, Sabina fulfills all her desires with Dr. Carl, similar to how her father used to punish her in childhood. Despite being cured of hysteria, Sabina still finds excitement in such actions due to her past experiences. Dr. Carl fulfills her desires, just as her father used to punish her. Now, Dr. Carl goes to Dr. Sigmund Freud. He discusses Sabina's case with him. Dr. Sigmund Freud suggests that Sabina might have nymphomania. She may have a strong desire for sexual activity, and she may take extreme measures to fulfill those desires. However, Dr. Carl hides his affair with Sabina. Dr. Sigmund Freud had many controversial theories, one of which suggested that even very young children have desires that can be fulfilled in some way. He also believed that girls are close to their fathers because they have similar desires in their minds. Dr. Carl wanted to work in various sectors such as parapsychology and telepathy, but Dr. Freud disagreed with him, which Dr. Carl didn't like. As time passes, one day Dr. Sigmund Freud tells Dr. Carl that he believes he is having an affair with his patient, but Dr. Carl firmly denies it. Actually, he didn't want anyone to find out about their affair. Dr. Sigmund Freud says that some unknown girl writes letters to me. She is claiming that she is having an affair with you. After this, Dr. Carl goes to Sabina and breaks up with her, after which she starts to mentally deteriorate again. She needs someone's help to complete her medical studies, so she writes a letter to Dr. Sigmund Freud, in which she also writes about her affair with Dr. Carl. After this, Dr. Sigmund Freud confirms this with Dr. Carl again, but Dr. Carl denies it once again. He says that she was just my patient and nothing more. Afterwards, Dr. Sigmund Freud writes a letter to Sabina and refuses her appointment. He also writes harsh words in this letter to defame Dr. Carl. Sabina feels very bad after hearing this and she goes to meet Dr. Carl. Sabina tells him that she will have to tell Dr. Sigmund Freud about him and herself. She needs his help in her studies. She says, "If I wanted, I could have defamed you, but I didn't do it." Actually, indirectly she was giving him a threat, and Dr. Carl, fearing her, writes a letter to Dr. Sigmund Freud and tells him everything. After this, Dr. Sigmund Freud says that you will have to end your affair, and he also gives an appointment to Sabina. Now, Dr. Carl's wife also finds out about this letter. Similarly, several more years pass like this. And one day Dr. Freud and Dr. Carl, along with their teams, go to America so that they can inform the world about this psychoanalysis. And when the conference is going on, there are many arguments between Dr. Carl and Dr. Sigmund Freud, because they both think differently at each point, and here everyone starts to consider them rivals. From there, the paths of these two also diverge. Actually, Dr. Carl didn't just want to treat his patients, he also wanted to give them the freedom to think, so that they could do something good in their future, just as he did in Sabina's case. And today, she has become a psychiatrist. While Dr. Sigmund Freud thinks completely differently, he wants to further develop the treatment of this illness. After the patient is cured, he doesn't care about them anymore. And now, because there is no discussion between Dr. Sigmund Freud and Dr. Carl, Dr. Carl's mental balance becomes a little weak, and he starts his affair with Sabina again. But now Sabina has decided to shift to Vienna, because Dr. Carl will not leave his wife, which means their relationship has no future. After shifting to Vienna, she marries another Russian doctor, and when she gets pregnant, she comes to meet Dr. Carl and his wife. Dr. Carl's wife tells Sabina to explain to Carl so that he can come out of his depression. Actually, now he has become physically and mentally very weak. Although Dr. Carl's wife somewhere knows that Sabina had an affair with her husband. Sabina goes to Dr. Carl and tells him that the child in her womb is his. Dr. Carl says, "I have loved you a lot. I never told you this, but this is the truth of my life." Sabina then leaves from there. Few years later, during the World War II, Sabina and her daughters were killed by the Nazis. But Dr. Carl managed to keep himself, and he became a very prominent psychoanalyst in the world. He wrote many books that became very famous, and in 1961, he passed away. Meanwhile, many theories of Dr. Sigmund Freud were not accepted by science, because his theory was very different, and his theories were called the dangerous method. He believed that, in the same family, siblings or different relatives somewhere like each other from within. He wrote a lot about their relationships in his theory. Actually, his saying was that they want to open those closed doors of human minds that humans themselves do not want to see. He wrote many theories, and psychoanalysis was also his theory, which first cured Sabina. It means, Sabina was the first patient to be cured by this method. So friends, how did you like this story of Dr. Sigmund Freud, Dr. Carl, and Sabina? Write in the comment box. We hope you liked this story.